This is a video to help show how one can deal with the fact that Windows 10 will try to connect to any what is termed a secure network automatically, regardless of who it belongs to. To show what I mean, we will click the Wi-Fi icon in the taskbar, and we will see a list of available networks identified by their SSID names that we can connect to. At the top here, we can see my 5G and my 2G network, as well as my Wi-Fi printer. If we move down a bit, we will see all my neighbors' networks. More alarming is the fact that the default of Connect Automatically is selected for all of these other networks, none of which I would want to connect my Wi-Fi to. One would think that all you need to do is just uncheck the box and you won't connect automatically anymore. We'll just do that. We'll uncheck this one, and this one, and this one, and if we go up, we'll see that they're unchecked. However, if we go out, if we now come back in and check again, we see that they're all checked again. If you consult with Microsoft and ask about this bug, they will tell you this is by design. I'm not sure why, but I think it's stupid. The last thing you want is for your computer to connect to any secure network automatically. There is a simple way to tell Windows 10 to connect to only specific networks and remove all others. For this, we will need to run the network shell command. Now, this command needs to be run as an administrator and is usually done within a command prompt window or in a PowerShell window. But we also can put these commands into a batch file and then run that batch file as administrator, which is what I will do here. Now, to create the batch file, first we create a text file and edit it with Notepad. Now we add the line netsh wireless LAN, a space, then add, space, filter, space, permission equal denyall, space, and network type equal infrastructure. Be careful of the spacing here, as putting a space in the wrong place or not putting a space in the right place will cause the command not to work. I have placed the commands in the description so that they're easily read and copied by anyone. I've used the generic PutYourSSIDNameHere, in which case you would place your own SSID name into that particular spot. The denyall filter will remove all the networks from the listed Wi-Fi networks. So next we will add the Wi-Fi networks we want to be available. In this case, I'll just add my 5G network to begin with. So we add a netsh wireless LAN, add filter, permission equal allow, SSID equals my 5G, network type equals infrastructure. Now we'll close it up, save the file, and rename it as mynetworkonly.bat. Now with our batch file, we will right click on it and run as administrator. If we now check our wireless networks, we will see only our selected network and all the others are gone. You can have just one or many networks added in here. Networks from friends or work or the library or your favorite cafe. And when networks with those SIDs names are available, they will show up in your list, but other networks won't. Now perhaps you come across a new network, say in a cafe or other location, you would like to add it, but you don't see it. You've denied all the networks access. So in order to do that, we can remove the denyall filter for a moment, see the network's ID name, and then add it again into our mynetworkonly batch file. We will create an allow all networks batch file that we can run that we will remove the deny all filter. So we'll right click, say edit, where we put in the filter for deny all, and instead of add we're going to change it to delete. Right click on this batch file and run it as administrator. And if we see, now all our networks are back again. Okay, and then we can see the network we want here. Here's my 2G, and we're going to add that guy. So we'll add in netsh wireless LAN, add filter, permission equal allow, SSID equals 2G, network type equals infrastructure. We'll also add a remark or comment line about removing filters as a reminder. Rem, change add to delete to remove filter. Save that, and now we can right click and run as administrator, and we can see we've added our new network. Now perhaps you wish to remove that network. Well, all we need to do is edit that file again, change the add to delete, save it, and run it as administrator. And we can see that the 2G network is gone. Now in order to get back where we originally started from, we would have to go in and change the add to delete for all the network filters we added. I'm just going to change the delete 2G network back to add so that it appears in my list because I want it to. And a quick test will show it's back to my two networks. The drawback of deleting the denyall filter is that this method will temporarily expose you to perhaps undesirable networks when you aren't at home, and you may inadvertently connect to a network that you may not want to use. Using a Wi-Fi info app, which is a free app, you will show what networks are available, what their SSID name is, without exposing your Connect Automatically Windows 10 feature from connecting you. We'll just take a look at the available networks with a Wi-Fi scan, WiFiInfoView, show all available Wi-Fi networks, and here you can look for your cafe or your library or your friends or your work, get the SSID, and add it as a new filter to your mynetworks.batch file. Save it and run it as administrator, and that new network will appear in your list down here. Now, when you reboot your computer, the network filters you have implemented should still be there, so you won't need to do this very often. However, with some Windows 10 updates, your net filters may be removed, in which case you will need to once again right-click on the mynetworks.batch file and run it as administrator. So I'd advise you to keep those batch files handy. Hopefully this will make your Wi-Fi a little bit safer and a little bit less of a nuisance.